Hello, Scoop Troop, and welcome back to another episode of the Sober Scoop. Today, I am going to give you a pros and cons list of being sober so that you can decide for yourself if it's something you want to do. If you are on the fence with sobriety and you're like, I can't really decide if I want to do that. I don't know if I'm going to make the leap and finally quit. I want to present to you some amazing things about sobriety and some not so amazing things about sobriety. And you can take those things into account from somebody who is 16 months sober, hear those, digest those, and decide for yourself whether it's something you want to do. Of course, just a quick PSA, I highly recommend it. As you'll see in this episode, the good things outweigh the bad. I'm going to give you a list of just as many good things as bad things, but it's almost like any bad things in sobriety are worth it. Okay? The pros outweigh the cons. That's the overarching message. But there are hard things about sobriety, I'm not going to lie. And especially in the beginning, it was an adjustment for sure. So I'm going to tell you all those, and I'm going to be honest. And with all that information, you decide for yourself if it's something you want to do. So, with that said, let's get into today's episode. Welcome to the Sober Scoop. This is a judgment-free zone where we talk about how to get sober and stay sober. You're not alone. I hope you feel seen. Quitting alcohol is the best decision I've ever made. All right, the first pro I want to talk about is a physical benefit. You will get better looking in sobriety, I promise. And I talk a lot about how I've managed to lose 50 pounds and my face has slimmed down and my skin is brighter and my hair is healthier and my nails are stronger. But some people, I always receive the comments or DMs that are like, that's not happening to me. I actually gained weight. And I don't want to hear it anymore because skinny does not equal pretty. Yes, I lost weight. I'm feeling more confident. I'm moving my body more. I happen to lose some weight. Okay, whatever. If you are gaining weight in sobriety, I guarantee you still look better. Skinny does not equal pretty, okay? Healthy, vibrant. Those are things that make you look pretty. I can see it in your eyes that you have that sober glow. Your skin has that beautiful tone to it, that glow. You are prettier in sobriety, whether you see it yourself or not. I guarantee it. So while weight loss happened for me, and it does happen for a lot of people who quit drinking, it doesn't happen for everybody. Sometimes the opposite happens. But when you heal yourself from the inside, it reflects on the outside, and you do go through a physical glow up, whether you like it or not. And like I said, the hair, skin, and nails glow up is really wonderful. I haven't had a broken nail in so long, and my nails used to just snap. If I was pulling my laptop out of the laptop case and it slipped a little bit, my nail breaks every time. And now that just never happens. I have to trim all my nails. I used to be like, oh, once one nail breaks, I'll trim them all. But now they don't break. So I just have to keep on a schedule of trimming them or else they get way too long and strong and healthy. It's crazy. I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. I'm just saying that when you don't feed yourself poison, really good things happen and your body thanks you. So, weight loss or no weight loss, you are going to go through a physical glow up as well as an emotional and mental glow up too. So, anyway, that is something to look forward to. The sober glow, as they call it. All right. And the first con I want to present to you doesn't have to do with that first pro, but a con about sobriety is that when you go to events, you might be the only one not drinking. And that might make you feel ostracized. It might make you feel different than everybody and like nobody understands you. It might make you feel a sense of peer pressure. Like everybody else is doing this, so I should too, right? Sobriety is becoming more common in today's society, which is cool. There are a lot of sober curious people. sober people and also just people who understand that alcohol is not good for you and are choosing to limit their intake. So it's just like more understood across the board that it's not a good thing to consume, which is cool. But when you first quit, especially if you continue to surround yourself with the same people that you did when you were a drinker, in many situations you might be the only one not drinking. And now, with 16 months under my belt, I almost get a high off of that. I'm like, oh my God, that makes me feel really special. It's a little ego boost, I'm not going to lie, because I know the damaging effects of alcohol. I know what alcohol did to my life, and I don't wish that upon anybody. But knowing that I'm choosing to not partake when all these other people are, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel proud of myself. And I used to feel ashamed of feeling that way because I'm like, I shouldn't think that I'm like better than anybody at any point in my sobriety. But it's not a feeling of being better than everybody. It's a feeling of being proud and confident in your decision. And that energy is what takes you through sobriety. Okay? So feel empowered by your decision to not drink. And if you're the only one, look at that as like, yeah, you're unique in a good way. You're not unique in a bad way. And I always advise that you have a couple key phrases in your back pocket for when people ask you why you're not drinking. I oftentimes reply differently depending on who I'm talking to. And I kind of have about 3 lines probably that I'll say to like a stranger, maybe someone that I'm going to have to see a few more times, or a really close friend or family member. My answer varies a little bit. To an older person, to a younger person, to a guy, to a girl. Like, I morph my answer a little bit, if I'm being honest, depending on who I'm talking to. So what I recommend is to just have a couple things ready to go in your back pocket that you are comfortable with, like an explanation, which I know you shouldn't have to explain yourself, but an explanation for why you're not drinking. Because people will ask, because drinkers are enamored by sober people. They are blown away by our choice, and they're often very curious. So people will ask you. So I warn you, be prepared for that. Because I think when I didn't have an answer prepared and I'm like, how do I say this? Like, I don't really want to divulge my alcohol problem to this stranger, but they also want to know, and I don't want to say I'm just doing it for health reasons, because that's not true either. It like stressed me out when I didn't have an answer ready, and it made me feel uncomfortable, unconfident. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, you need to shift that mentality to actually feel empowered and confident in your decision, because it is a good one. But yeah, you might feel ostracized. You might be the only one in the room not drinking, and that is something that you will just have to deal with. So that's my first con. Okay, another pro. You will have an abundance of time to do everything you've ever imagined. Now, don't put pressure on yourself, okay? Just live life. You don't have to cure, world hunger when you get sober. You don't have to discover world peace. But you will have time to tap into some things that you've been wanting to do. Maybe you've had on your to-do list forever that you want to learn Spanish. And in sobriety, you'll have a couple hours a day to spend on Duolingo, if that's of interest to you. Maybe you've had on your to-do list to get coffee with that one person for like months. You quit drinking and it's like, oh, I actually have time to do that and an interest to do that. Cool. I'll meet up with them. You rediscover hobbies. I just remember in the beginning of sobriety, the days felt so long. It was insane. Because, if I'm starting to drink at 3 p.m., I only have from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. What is that? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 7 hours in a day to like be productive. And then at 3 o'clock, my brain would kind of shut off and I'd become a vegetable and I'd just sit on the couch and do nothing and drink from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. or 11, whatever. What a waste of life. Makes me so sad looking back. Oh. But yeah, so I had 7 hours a day to be a productive human being. Then when I quit drinking, all of a sudden I had like 13 hours a day to be a productive human being or more. Like double the amount of time every day to do what I wanted. I could wake up before work and do something, work on my book, do an arts and crafts, take a walk, go to the coffee shop, then do a full 8 hours of work, and then have time to do physical activity or a hobby, and then also like watch a movie with my boyfriend and cook dinner, and like you just have so much time, and clean your room before you go to bed. Like I remember I was just like, wow, there's so many hours in the day. And this is going to lead me right into my second con, which is you have so much time in the day. Later in sobriety, that becomes a pro. In the beginning of sobriety, I would say that's a con. I was overwhelmed by the abundance of time. Like, yeah, I'm talking about all that you can get done in your 14 hours a day or whatever, doubling the amount of time that you get to be productive. But that's a lot of extra time to fill when you've only been living life for 7 hours a day, and then all of a sudden you have 14 hours a day. You're like, what do I do? It was overwhelming. I didn't really know where to begin. And the abundance of time kind of made me feel lonely, if that makes sense. Or like I had nothing to do, nothing to fill my time. There was boredom, loneliness, restlessness, big time. In fact, I'm going to crack into my Hi-Yo right now because adaptogen drinks, sorry if that was loud, adaptogen drinks saved me during this time period. So, okay, if you don't know what adaptogen drinks are, they have functional botanicals like L-theanine, lion's mane, ashwagandha, magnesium. These kind of relaxing botanicals, natural botanicals, that make you feel stress-free and just calm. I would never compare the feeling from an adaptogen drink to alcohol. Cannot compare the two. I would not put adaptogen drinks anywhere near the world of alcohol. It's such a different feeling, and it's hardly a feeling at all, if I'm being honest. It's a slight feeling of just putting your mind at ease a little bit. I really struggle with some ADHD symptoms. I still do in sobriety. They're a lot less since I quit drinking alcohol, but they're still there. They're rampant. And adaptogen drinks just ease my mind a little bit and make it so I can like watch a movie in the evenings, even though my mind is racing. So all this to say, also, not to like sound salesy, I'm genuinely recommending this and want to give you guys a discount just because I have a code. If you go to the description of this episode, I will leave a link so that you can shop my favorite adaptogen drink. And let me tell you how these saved me in the beginning of my sobriety. So this abundance of time that you feel, it's overwhelming, and it made me so restless and hyperactive. Okay, I just moved into this new condo with my boyfriend. Fast forward 3 months and I would be moving out of it, breaking my lease agreement and breaking up with him. Wow, how life changes so fast. But anyways, I had just gotten sober. We're in this new condo, okay? So there's a lot to do. Oh my God, I was working on that condo all day, all night. I mean, I was getting frequent flyer miles to Home Depot. Like, I was constantly at Home Depot, lugging stuff around. I didn't want any help with it either. He's like, you want me to come with you? I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm building furniture. I'm doing yard work in the backyard till way past dark with my headlamp on, like digging up this bush that turns out literally went to like China through the middle of the earth. It was so deeply rooted in there. yeah, so anyways, I would be like digging up stuff and doing these insect treatments and scrubbing the cement patio and hanging stuff and building stuff and cleaning stuff. And oh my God, it was my life and I loved it. It kept me going. But my boyfriend would be like, let's watch a movie, let's chill, let's like cook dinner together, whatever. And I couldn't do it. Alcohol made it so that I could chill and turn off my brain and just relax. And I loved to relax when I was a drinker. But the moment I quit and I didn't have that substance to help me relax, I freaked out. My God, I didn't want to sit there and watch a movie. It was torturous. I wanted to be moving at all times. One thing that helped me was the adaptogen drinks, which I'll talk about, but also sunflower seeds. There's something about like the hand to mouth movement of putting seeds in your mouth and then also like being busy with your mouth, chewing them, spitting them into a cup. That was helpful. Kind of gross to be with your significant other watching a movie and I'm like spitting seeds into a cup. Yeah. But you know, we were comfortable with each other. Anyway. So sunflower seeds were really helpful, and then adaptogen drinks were really helpful. They got me through sobriety, and they made it so that I could actually just chill and watch that movie with him. They were my saving grace. They really, really helped me. But all this to say, the restlessness and hyperactivity that comes with the abundance of time is overwhelming in the beginning of sobriety. It's really hard. I'm not going to lie. Especially knowing now that I struggle quite a bit with the ADHD symptoms. Imagine using alcohol as like self-medication and then just one day waking up and removing your medication. All the symptoms are still there. In fact, they're worse once you eliminate the medication. But they do even themselves out. You will get through that time. And that's what I kept telling myself. I would watch TikTok videos and listen to podcasts and watch YouTube videos and whatever about the restlessness that I was feeling. And everyone keeps saying, like, just be patient. It'll get better. Literally everything gets better in sobriety. The parts that are the hardest in early sobriety get so much better later in sobriety. Like, I love a relaxing evening now. And I actually, I still struggle to fully turn off my brain. But I've found things that work for me, and the adaptogen drinks help, and I love a relaxing evening where I can like recharge. Okay, moving on. So I'm going to go into another con right away and say that, like, yes, I'm able to relax, but having like full rot days, as they call them, is essentially impossible for me in sobriety. I do not take a day anymore where I just completely turn off my brain and veg, like just sit on the couch and stare at the screen or scroll TikTok all day. The most I'll do is like maybe every once in a while, once in a blue moon. I'm so busy these days, but once in a blue moon, I'll like scroll TikTok for 3 hours. I know that's a lot, but I used to do it like all day while watching TV in the background on my rot days. I used to take, you can call them rot days. I used to call them mental health days, where I would literally just drink from morning until night. I would just watch TV and drink alcohol. And it would like kind of reset me in a way. That's what I told myself. Like, oh, just completely blow off a day, drink all day with no rules, no limitation, no stressing about hiding or how much I'm drinking or anything. It's my one day that's just like all bets are off. I drink as much as I want. I do nothing. I don't have to be anywhere or go outside. So my rot days, yeah. There's a con. I guess I sometimes miss that I don't get to have a full rot day in sobriety. I could if I wanted to, but I don't. Because I like to get the most squeeze, the most juice out of every day. Sorry if that's corny, but I actually love life for the first time in a long time. So I like to enjoy it. And I would rather go on a walk. That's kind of my rot. My rot days, my Sunday where I'm doing nothing, I go on like the longest walk you've ever seen, like a 4-hour walk, and I just listen to podcasts. And that's my rot day. That's how I like turn off my brain, through movement, through listening to that podcast. Like, that's my version of recharging, and I love it. So I'm putting that as a con, that I can't have rot days, but I love my sober life so much more. Sometimes I wish I could just turn off all my thoughts, which that's on my cons list later. But also our thoughts are so powerful, so why would you want to turn them off? And life is meant to be lived, so get out there and live it, baby. Sleep when you're dead. Okay. So a pro, kind of bouncing off of that one, a pro about sobriety is that I wake up feeling 100% pretty much every day. And that's wild. Like, I sleep well pretty much every night unless there's been an outside force that has caused me to not sleep well. Like if I have to wake up at 4 a.m. for a flight. Like, yeah, that's probably not going to be my best night's sleep. I'm anxious about waking up. My alarm wakes me up in the middle of my REM cycle. Yeah, or there's like an ambulance going off outside all night long. Okay, that's not going to be the best night's sleep I've ever had. But it's from outside forces. If I'm just having a normal night, my sleep is incredible. I sleep like a baby every single night. Not waking up in the middle of the night, not waking up between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m. like I used to every single night when I was a drinker. I sleep through the night and I wake up feeling well rested. I wake up with energy. I like the ritual of a coffee because it's kind of just fun and it tastes good and it's just part of my routine, but I do not wake up like, I need coffee. No. I get a good night's sleep and I wake up feeling energized, which is really cool. And you know when you're drinking, I mean, even if you didn't get drunk the night before, you wake up and you're just groggy. The alcohol is still in your system and your eyes just like don't want to be open. And you're just, like it's this feeling of grogginess, laziness, brain fog. And in sobriety, you wake up feeling 100% every day. Imagine going through life as your 100% self pretty much every day. That is incredible and like the biggest blessing to get the opportunity to do that. Unless you're sick or injured or, again, these outside forces, it's like, unless something is going on, you're pretty much presenting in this world as your best self. And that's a really, really special way to live instead of drinking every day and going through life as like this hindered version of yourself. It's so much better to wake up feeling 100% and not like having tummy issues and having to run to the bathroom and having dry mouth from drinking, and just everything is better about waking up in sobriety. That's a huge pro, is just to feel so good every day. Okay, the next pro I'm going to talk about is mentally feeling so free, because I'm not thinking about alcohol 24/7. When I was a drinker, I was thinking about alcohol 24/7. It was so annoying. When I was drinking, I was thinking about drinking. When I was not drinking, I was thinking about drinking. When I woke up in the morning, I was thinking about drinking. The first thought in my mind every single day when I woke up was how many drinks did I have yesterday? And I would do that calculation and start the day being so angry with myself and disappointed. Like, how did I do this again? And then I'd wake up and go clean up my apartment and throw away all the cans that are sitting everywhere and sitting by my bed and sitting by the couch and sitting in the shower. And I would, collect the remnants of my evening getting drunk by myself. And then I would typically crack open a drink to get through my hangover, to get through feeling so disgusted by myself. It was really a horrible cycle, and alcohol was always on my mind. Every event that I went to, every person that I hung out with, alcohol was on the back of my mind. If I'm getting coffee with somebody, I'm like, should I pregame that coffee date? Should I bring a beer in my bag to chug in the bathroom? Will they be able to smell the alcohol on me? Where will I put the cans if she needs a ride home and gets into my car? How will I explain that there's a Coors Light can tucked in the back of the seat pocket? It was horrible. I would obsess about how to hide my problem. I would obsess about where I'm going to get my next drink. I would obsess about how I'm going to get home from events when I've been drinking. I would obsess about when I'm going to go to the store, how much I should get, what type I should get. Will I run out? What if I run out? Oh my God. I would just constantly be thinking about alcohol. It was exhausting. And then when I decided to start moderating my drinking, like only drinking on weekdays, only drinking on the weekends, or only drinking past 5 p.m., I even tried only drinking hard alcohol for a while because I thought that would like deter me from drinking. Nope. Still drank just as much, but anyway, that's a story for another day. What I'm saying here is even when I was moderating, I was thinking about alcohol all the time. I actually think that moderating is like one of the worst things you can do if you are truly someone with an alcohol problem. Because I think I thought about alcohol even more when I was moderating than when I was just straight up drinking. Because any time that I was not drinking, I was thinking about drinking, and I was doing all these negotiations with myself and making deals like, okay, I had to go to a birthday party on Tuesday, which is one of my no drinking days. So since I did drink on Tuesday, I just won't drink on Saturday. But I only drank for like 5 hours on Tuesday, so I could just not drink for 5 hours on Saturday. So I'll just start at like noon instead of starting at 7 a.m., right? Like, oh my God, the deals that I made with myself. It was so exhausting. And then it's like, when does the weekend start? Is it Friday afternoon? Is it Saturday morning? What if Monday's a holiday? Can I drink on that day too? It was exhausting. Exhausting. I hated it. Moderating was awful for my mental health. Quitting was peace at last. And once I quit, oh my God, it was like a cartoon. Like, I was standing there in this giant empty room. It was like, wow, no thoughts of alcohol. It was just peace. Oh my God, I was finally free from the handcuffs of alcohol. What a beautiful experience that was. And you don't have to stress about when you're going to get that drink, how you're going to get home. You drive yourself home from everywhere because you just know that you're not going to be drinking. You don't have to think about, will alcohol be available? Will I be able to get some? You don't drink alcohol, so you just have Diet Coke or water or whatever, or food. Whatever's available, you're fine with. You don't have to obsess over, will there be booze? I mean, it's just so freeing. And that right there, folks, is probably my number one favorite thing about sobriety, is I don't have to think about all the logistics with alcohol. My God, so glad that I don't have to experience that anymore. The biggest pro in sobriety is that. So if you're considering getting sober, that peace is something you can't find anywhere else. You can't find it in moderating. You can't find it with full-on drinking. And I feel like everybody deserves the chance to experience that freedom from alcohol in sobriety. It's a very beautiful thing. I see people who really don't have a problem with alcohol even struggling with this sometimes. Like obsessing over, is there going to be booze? How many drinks are we going to have? Should we pregame? Like, even if they have a quote-unquote healthy relationship with alcohol, I see their wheels turning constantly about the logistics with alcohol. It's very tiring. And I don't need that in my life. I got enough thoughts in my head as is. I don't need alcohol to be one of them too. Which brings me right into my next con. I do have rampant thoughts constantly in my head. It's getting to a point where I am considering getting an ADHD diagnosis. I don't know why, because I've been quite against that, because I know how I feel in my head, and I don't think like having somebody else tell me that, yep, you're right, you have ADHD, I don't think it's gonna like make me feel any better, but maybe it would. Because sometimes I really, really struggle with the hyperactivity in my head, the restlessness, the lack of patience for people, the interrupting, the analysis paralysis, the messy apartment. That part gets to me a lot. Like, having a constantly messy apartment is not only exhausting, it is also embarrassing. I moved to my hometown, so I have family around, and it's like so embarrassing if they want to come over and I have to be like, well, can you wait in your car? I'm going to go upstairs and clean my apartment really quick and at least tidy it up. Like, yeah, my inability to stay tidy is quite frustrating amongst a lot of other kind of symptoms of ADHD. And I've done a lot of work trying to just grab some skills to deal with this a bit better. But just recently, I've thought that maybe it would bring me some peace to get a diagnosis. I'm not going to go on medication. I've already decided that. I just like being natural, and I was born this way, and I don't see ADHD as like a disorder. I see it as my superpower in a lot of ways, and I just have to learn how to rein it in. I gotta I'm a superpower. What's that movie where her powers are like too strong and she has to learn how to control it? Is that Halloween Town? I don't know. I feel like I just watched a movie that was like that. Anyway, it's like you gotta control your powers, okay? And I just need to work on controlling my powers. I don't need to like medicate and make my powers go away. Wow, I really like that analogy. I'm going to write that down. So, sorry, where I was going with this was one con about sobriety is that I no longer have alcohol to self-medicate my ADHD and my hyperactive brain. I don't get to just drink away my thoughts. I mean, I swear, my mind would be spinning. My family growing up used to call it obsessing. That's like the word they used for it. Now, I think I recognize it as like, I've always had ADHD. I get locked in on a topic and I cannot let it go. But we called it, like I used to obsess. My mom told me from a very young age that I would obsess over things. I had an ex-boyfriend call me a pit bull because I would latch onto things and not let go. That's a bit rude, but anyway. Yeah, I've always had this obsessive nature. And alcohol would make it so I could just stop thinking about whatever was consuming my thoughts. So my mind would be spinning and going crazy, and I just can't stop thinking about this thing, and it's irking me, and I'm talking about it with my significant other and just driving him nuts, trying to hash out this thing for so long. And I'd have one beer, and I'd be like, okay, I feel like my brain is quiet. I can relax. I can just watch a movie and not... Did you know that in sobriety, I literally keep a notepad next to me when I watch a movie so that I can write down all my thoughts? That's a skill that I've learned in sobriety to manage the ADHD, hyperactivity. It's helpful because you can just get that thought out of your brain and onto paper and move on with watching the movie. But anyway, alcohol used to just numb my thoughts and make it so that I could just stare at a screen and actually focus and have like a nice date night or something without ruining the night obsessing over some random topic or something someone said or, you know. Anywho, alcohol turned off my brain, and so I would call that a con in sobriety, is that I no longer have that. Adaptogen drinks help a little bit. Emphasis on a little bit. Sometimes I hardly even notice the effects of them. In fact, sometimes I think that caffeine almost numbs my thoughts more than like an adaptogen drink, which is meant to relax you. They say that sometimes with ADHD, that a stimulant actually makes you feel more calm. So weird. I don't know. This is why I think maybe a diagnosis or just like understanding what's going on would help a little bit and give me those skills like, oh yeah, caffeine, a stimulant, is what quiets your brain. I don't even get hyper from caffeine. In fact, sometimes I feel sleepy. Sometimes I have a coffee at like 8 p.m. and it helps put me to sleep. So wild. This is a conversation for a different episode. But anyway, a con about sobriety is that I no longer have my self-medication of alcohol to just shut off my brain. I have to face all my thoughts. I have to find these random skills like the notepad, like having a special basket for my clothes that I don't feel like hanging up right away. like my to-do lists that I have. Like I've learned a lot of skills, but I have to use those. I don't have this easy out anymore of just drinking booze and having my thoughts all go away. Which, yes, I look at that as a con because that relief was something I really enjoyed. I enjoyed just getting to feel at peace and have like silence in my head for a little while. I think that's why I chased it all day long. I wanted that 2-beer buzz from morning until night because my brain would just shut off. And I craved that so hard. And I acted on it. But yeah, in sobriety, I don't have that. And sometimes I miss that. But I can spin every single one of these cons into a positive. And here is my positive spin on this one. Why would I want to shut off my beautiful thoughts that I have? Yes, they're a lot, okay? It might be annoying to somebody else, but I hope I find somebody that sees these thoughts in the same way that I do, which is, these are my own personal thoughts. Like, they are valuable. The way I am, the way we all are as individuals, is valuable to our society. And not everybody has crazy, rampant thoughts 24/7. The fact that I think so deeply about things, and my ADHD or obsessiveness or whatever you want to call it, impulsivity, all those different qualities that come with ADHD, they are my superpowers in a lot of ways. I always say this example. I decided that I wanted to start a sobriety podcast, and that same day I recorded my first episode. That's an example of how the impulsivity is a superpower. I went out and I bought the equipment and I wrote down my thoughts for my first few episodes, and I started recording. That day, I blew off all my other plans and became absolutely obsessed with the podcast and couldn't think about another thing until I sat down and recorded that episode. So you could view that as a con, I suppose. There's that obsessive nature. But I did it. And some people talk about an idea for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years before they act on it, if they ever even act on it. And I decide that I want to do something and I do it the same day. Oh, I really want to go to this island in Greece. You best believe I'm going to book that flight, like probably too soon. Like, I'll just do it. So impulsivity is a bad thing, but it can also be a good thing. The hyperactivity and thoughts and all that, it's like, I have so many business ideas and personal growth, and I'm self-aware, and just the thoughts are not always bad. Yes, they're a lot. Yes, I sometimes miss being able to turn off my brain, but I try to look at all of my thoughts as positive thoughts, like a positive contribution to society, if that makes any sense. So why would I want to numb all my beautiful thoughts with alcohol? Paris Hilton always says that ADHD is her superpower, and I'm with you, sister. So the last one that I'll talk about, and I could go on and on. This is already a very long episode, so I won't keep you too much longer. Hopefully you're out on a hot girl walk or, doing something fun, walking on the treadmill, or just relaxing, listening to this, driving to work, wherever you are. I hope you're enjoying just listening to me yap on this episode. Okay, another pro I want to share is that I feel very confident / sure of myself / well-spoken, and that I have a good memory. That's a lot of different thoughts, but they all kind of go together. And here's how. Like, when I used to be a drinker, I would slur my words. I would feel like, am I standing funny? Does that person think I'm weird? Can they tell that I'm too drunk? Can they smell that I was drinking before this? My memory was so horrible. Like, someone would tell me that I did something or said something, and even though I'm like, I didn't do that, I would have to believe them. I would have to just take it as truth because I don't remember. And I had one toxic ex several years back who used to literally use this against me. And he'd be like, oh, you just don't remember because you were drunk. You don't remember what you said. He would even invalidate my feelings the next day when I'd be like, hey, that really hurt me last night when you said that horrible thing to me. And he's like, well, you're probably just extra emotional right now because you're hungover. Like, what I'm saying is that in sobriety, nobody can say any of that to me. I am so sure of myself and confident, and I have my wherewithal. Is that the term? Wherewithals? Whatever. I know what's going on. I remember what happened. I remember what I said. I say things clearly and with intention. I don't say things I regret for the most part. Sometimes the ADHD impulsivity has me just blurting out things I probably should have thought a second about. But anyway, for the most part, I feel so confident and sure of myself and proud of the person that I am. I know that I'm speaking clearly. I know that I am saying things that I mean. I know that I'm speaking with intention. I feel so strongly about being like well-spoken and sure of myself, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, I just feel good and like I'm presenting myself to society in a positive way. The con. I was trying to connect these two somehow, but the con is that one area I don't have confidence in, or I'm like not the same, or I'm not a better version in sobriety, is like with flirtation. Okay, hear me out. I don't have a flirty nature a flirty bone in my body. I don't know how to talk to guys anymore. I feel like it's a mix between being sober and not having that like flirty, just touching guys, oh my God, and like going out and partying and everyone's at the bar hoping to meet somebody. It's just like an instant way to connect with somebody, and you're like, everyone there is just down to like be flirty and fun, and you're all young and woohoo, yeah. And yeah, so in sobriety, it's like I'm not hanging out in those same scenes, okay? So if I'm going to meet somebody like out on the golf course, okay, it doesn't have that same flirty, fun nature as being single at the bar. Not everyone's not on the same page, okay? And the golfers are wearing a golf glove on their left hand. I can't even see if they're married. Inside golfer joke. But also true. So this whole pro and con that I'm talking about is like, I feel confident and sure of myself in every way. And I'm so proud of the person that I am. I'm so proud of how I present myself in conversation. I speak clearly, eloquently, and I'm very proud of that. On the other hand, I sometimes miss being like flirty and silly and like having this just way with men. I don't have that anymore. And although I'm so confident and sure of myself, I am lacking that just ability to be fun and flirty and cute. And like I used to be so about that. Like I think when I was drinking, guys were drawn to me, which maybe that's a red flag. But in sobriety, like I don't have that same appeal, which is fine. You know, I hope that my forever person is going to fall in love with me for who I truly am, not like an alcohol-induced, overly flirtatious, overly touchy version of myself. But yeah, I miss sometimes having that flirty nature and talking to guys and like having no problem getting a date. I haven't been on a date in a year. Over a year now. And I'm getting close to being ready to do that for sure. Like I feel good. I feel like I am a whole, complete person and I would be ready to meet somebody. But it's hard to give that sign that I am like wanting to date or I'm interested. So what I was going to say is it's partially being sober. And then the second part of that is I think it's also that I've been in relationships for so long. I've always had a boyfriend except for little short blips in between them. And so I think I like forgot how to be single. And I kind of assume now that I'm 29 and the guys that I'm interested in are maybe, you know, in their mid 30s or whatever. And I just kind of assume that everyone's taken, which is not the mentality that you should go through life with. Because even if a guy is taken and you tell him that he's handsome or something, or you flirt with him a little bit, he'll say that he has a girlfriend hopefully, if he's a good guy. And he'll still feel flattered that you came up and said something. No one's going to be offended that you were flirty or thought they were handsome or whatever. And I need to try to remember that. I need to remind myself of that. Like, there's no risk in going up to somebody and saying something or giving them a smile or whatever. Like, any guy or girl is going to find it, it's going to be a nice feeling to have a cute person smile at you. So there's a reminder for you guys and for myself. Like, it never hurts to just give a little smile or say hi or whatever. Even if they're taken, everyone appreciates a nice smile or a hello. You know, it's still a sweet gesture, I believe. So note to self, don't be so afraid and assuming that everybody is taken. I'll never meet somebody if I assume that everybody's taken. So, wow, that was, I think, my longest episode to date. So if you're still with me, thank you so much for listening. And with this long list of pros and cons and some personal anecdotes, whatever, mixed in, I hope that you can make your decision on whether you want to get sober or not. There are good things about sobriety. There are quote unquote bad things about sobriety. But I can, like I said, I can spin every bad thing into a good thing. And I truly believe that, like, the most natural version of yourself is the best version. Like, who you truly are on the inside is how you should present to the world, and it's how you become the best version of yourself. And constantly being under the influence of alcohol makes you into a version that you're not truly on the inside. And yeah, that hurts in like the flirtatious way or whatever. Or maybe the ADHD turning off your brain way. But it, in the long run, is it's the right choice. It's so much better for you. You will be grateful that you chose sobriety, and you deserve to like meet your sober self, because they're an amazing person. I know it. So thank you for listening to this very long episode. Love you guys. See you on Thursday. Bye.